Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Conversations with PH, and most importantly, welcome to our very first episode of what we call Money Conversations with PH. Today, we are talking about my favorite topic, really, in the world. Today, we're talking about money, we're talking about machankura, we're talking about zaga. We're talking about imali, like that song. We all use it, we all want it, but for some reason, we never want to talk about it. So, in our first episode, really just talking about money. And perhaps one of the first things we need to do is let's first understand some of the reasons as to why people don't actually want to talk about money. Well, one, we have somehow attached our self-worth and respect to money or the appearance thereof. We all know it. In our communities, the more money you have, the more people respect you and they take you seriously. The less money you have, the more people don't really take you seriously. I mean, we know the different names that people will be given. Body ice boy, people will be given things like, hey, you're a leech. People will be saying, girl, go secure the bag. So most people would really just rather accumulate debt so that they appear to have money and somehow maintain a status in the communities. Really, it is unfortunate and it's really a self-esteem issue. We've attached our value as people to the wrong thing, and that is fact. Number two, you probably grew up with parents that really did not want to talk about money. I mean, growing up, how many of us actually knew how much our parents earned? Most of the time, when you ask your parents for money, they would tell you that they don't have money. So for some reason, we just didn't know. I mean, we don't even know how much they earned. And perhaps it was also on their side. They didn't want to share with us because maybe they thought we would somehow compare them to their peers because they don't really earn as much, or maybe they actually did have money and they just didn't want us to know because then we would want them to say yes to everything that we asked for. So growing up, really, we didn't really talk about money. Now when you have kids, you adopt the same thing where money is not a topic for conversation in your household. Number three, really, it's more like knowing what you don't know actually forces you to make very uncomfortable decisions. We all know, like most people, once they know their financial positions, then they'll be forced to make very uncomfortable decisions. And those decisions could potentially mean that, hey, maybe you need to cut down on your entertainment budget. Maybe you need to go out less. That bag that you think you should get, maybe you shouldn't get it. So you'd rather not know because, to be honest, you're not trying to make that decision that requires you to be a bit more financial savvy. So I guess in this case, ignorance is bliss. Number four is about that HR policy. I know those who work probably have come across this HR policy, that literally prohibits you from having any discussions with anybody really outside your boss and HR about how much it is that you're actually earning, your remuneration package. So most of the times, really, we go around not really sure whether even what we earning, if we were to benchmark it against somebody in the same position, in the same experience, with the same experience, probably also in the cubicle next to you. So most of the times we suspect or probably even know for sure that we're really not earning the same, or we are underpaid. But unfortunately, that HR policy really prevents prevents you from having that conversation. And why? Because HR really said so. Number 5, well, number 5, it's more of a sad reality, and that is, we actually don't understand how money works. Most of the time, you see money going in, the next day it's gone, and you really cannot account for it. You do not know what really happened. It's a very, very common reason in our society, because most people really do lack financial education. And this is really something that is not even taught at school, which honestly speaking, I do think this is something that should be included as part of the curriculum, at least in high school. Okay? So now that we've set the scene in terms of the reasons why people might not necessarily want to talk about money, let's talk about some reasons why you ought to be talking about money, why money is important. Number 1, money is probably one of the most important things in the world, because many ordinary things could not happen without money. And I'll take a very typical example. You wake up in the morning, the bed that you were sleeping on required money. The clothes that you're going to put on will needed money. If you're taking a taxi to school, to work, you will need money. If you're driving, you are probably paying for that car. If you are communicating using your cell phone, you probably used money. The water that you use, everything really requires money. The list is endless. We need money. We should be talking about money. So we really cannot get away from it. We cannot get away from money. And if, for my Christian friends, that tithe that you are paying that literally keeps the lights on a church, that requires money. Money is so integral in our everyday lives. So really, why shouldn't we be talking about it? If anything, we should try to understand it so we can get a better understanding really of how we can make more of it and how we can make the most of it. Number 2, probably most of the problems that we have in society are somehow linked to money. Let's make it more practical. We all complain about potholes that we are seeing in our communities. Well, let me tell you something. There are certain elite communities where people actually have money and they fix those potholes themselves. So they really don't have a pothole situation. We look at our poor education system. Do you think people with money are really worried about the education system in this country? Probably not, because they're using their money to take their children to better schools. And unfortunately, we're actually getting to a point where even some good teachers in public schools are moving away to actually other schools that will offer them a better job. So really, for those without money, this is a constant problem. Let's look at the high unemployment rates. We hear it all the time. Small businesses are key to creating jobs, but small businesses require money to grow and expand so they can actually create those jobs. Without that money, it is highly unlikely that we will be able to solve for the problems that we have as pertain to unemployment in this country. Therefore, yet again, what do we need? We need money. Number 3, in terms of the reasons why we should be talking about money, let's look at your role models. Most people that we consider or people consider to be their role models are generally given that title because of their wealth position. And yes, maybe you might say it's because of the impact that they have in society, but we all know that impact generally goes hand in hand, or should I be saying hand in glove, with money. So if you have a role model, probably you're also looking to have their type of money. So instead of dreaming about it, shouldn't you rather be trying to understand what it is that you can do to actually attain that level of wealth and increase your wealth position? Number 4, black tax. Black tax is real. Contentious topic. Some people might view black tax as a burden. Some people see black tax as a good thing because you're supporting your family. Irrespective of how you view it, at the end of the day, black tax involves money. So the more money you have, the more money you have to give and also spend on yourself. And to be honest, let me challenge you, better yet, shouldn't you be working on accumulating so much money that even your future children or future generations never even understand or get to come across the term black tax, because to them it would be non-existent. Why? Because we would have created generational wealth. And number 5, one of the reasons why we should be talking about money, because easy come, easy go. You can be rich today and you can be poor tomorrow, or you could steadily increase your wealth. Please don't be taken by quick get rich schemes. Understand the flow of money and the accumulation thereof, so that you do not lose it unnecessarily, because there are people scamming each and every day, where you think you can put it 1,000 rands today and in 3 days it would have tripled. How? If you understood the concept of money and how it flows and how it's generated, you'll quickly see that that is a scam. It's a scam. And while we're on this point, act with integrity. Make decisions in the light, because things that are made in the dark while cutting through the corners will come back to bite you. Earn an honest living. Make honest decisions when it comes to money, and you will accumulate wealth, not temporary riches that you have today and are gone tomorrow. So there you have it. I've given you reasons why people do not want to talk about money, and the reasons are there, but I've given you even more compelling reasons why we should be talking about money. So whether or not you think I'm right, you think I'm wrong, look, at the end of the day, money is money. We use it, we need it, we should definitely talk about it. You can ignore it, but you definitely cannot hide from it. So thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Why Not Talk About Money. And we look forward to unpacking many other themes that are related to money in our next few episodes. And yet again, let me remind you that the purpose of this platform is for us to spark conversations. So take what we've spoken about today, take it to your inner circles, your outer circles, take it to your workplace. Hey, take it to your boss. Let's have a conversation about money, because these are the sort of conversations that will really enrich our lives and help us change the futures of generations to come. Thank you so much for joining us. I look forward to us engaging further on this series of money conversations with PH.